So I'd really like to hear Trent Reznor do a rewrite of Closer now that he's a little older, and have it be a song that he's written to his dog. And it might start, I want to ambulate you. I want to defecate you. I want to urinate you. Help me, I'm walking in my neighborhood. Help me, I'm picking up the poop. Help me, I'm needing you to micturate. Don't do it on that stoop. I want to walk you like an animal. I want to take you to the outside. Go ahead. It's brilliant, right?
Yes, Jim. It's a lovely idea.
No?
This is an old one. You told me this like 10 years ago.
I'm telling it to our listeners now.
Oh, our listeners.
I know. I've had this stuck in my head all that time.
Well, the only thing I remember about that tune was reading an interview with Trent Reznor,
Yeah.
where he, you know this one. He went to the record company, and after he had submitted like the roughs of the album, and he went to meet them, and he said, "I'm really sorry, there's no hit. Like there's nothing you can use in the album that's really hit." And they said, "Oh no, Closer's great." He's like, "What?"
What?
And they said, "Oh yeah, don't worry, leave it to us. We'll make it work. It's okay."
It's like a stick of dynamite in the radio station.
Right. And the record execs are like, "That's fine." Nah.
Like
You should see the stuff we listen
won't know
to.
what you're saying. Please give me a break. Terrible.
Yeah. And the obligatory Brothers Quay video and so forth and so on.
Yeah, you're right. That's right. I forgot about that. That it
sort
was
of tedious a little bit.
It's what?
In retrospect, it strikes me as a little tedious. The whole thing. I don't know.
The angst. Look, I don't think I've had to come to terms with the fact that a lot of people have grown up with a much more traumatizing childhood than I did. Right? I had problems. They never caused me to write a song like that. Or like most of Trent Reznor's songs. You know what I mean? Just anger.
Is it? I don't know. I mean, I've only listened to a very small subset of his work, honestly. I've probably listened to maybe 2.5 albums total of everything that he's written. Doesn't strike me as terribly traumatized. Sounds like he might have some intramural drug issues every now and then.
That could cause it, I guess.
But I don't know. I don't read too much into it. But anyway, yeah. I mean, I like some of his later stuff. I like some of his earlier stuff. But I don't know, just the whole Closer. It's strange what people latch on to as the great hit, you know. But anyway, this is speaking of tedious. This is
tedious. Also, I'm reaching back 10 years to kind of give you an opener, so you can tell where I'm at right now. You know, I've run out of ideas, but I've been creating a lot of stuff recently. I did send you a couple of tracks for this upcoming 13 of 31. I like that title. I don't know if that's too mundane. It's still time to change it. What do you think? I mean, the idea being that I've written 31 songs at the beginning of the year, December to June, and these are 13 from that. So in a weird way, it's a very vulnerable album for me because there's no accompaniment. It's just me and the guitar, and it's songs that I've written just now. So,
well, 13 and 31, I don't know, it's a little obscure to me. I'm never a big fan of puzzling titles.
Oh, okay. What are good album titles? That's a good subject. What album?
Breakfast in America.
Breakfast in America.
The guy died. You hear that? Supertramp. The Supertramp guy died.
Oh no.
One of the two key guys. But
I just laughed and said hooray or something.
No. That's a great album. Oh, what an amazing, fabulous album. I mean, you just gotta love it. It's like ABBA. What is that? Mamma Mia. You don't have to like it, but you do have to salute it.
You got to appreciate it. Absolutely.
You got to salute it every now and then. So, good album titles, I don't know. I think it's fascinating. I think band names make a huge difference. I think album titles make a huge
They
difference.
do, right? So, and it's funny because when it comes to my own stuff, I have trouble naming things, giving them a label. So yeah, I am kind of searching. I mean, I have song titles that I could name it after, but um, can't find any here that I guess like Just One Dance,
That's
Shadow
fine.
Boxing.
Yeah, those are pretty straightforward and clear. I like that.
Yeah,
But 1331, I don't know. I mean, you know, what's it expressing other than the fact that it's inscrutable? That's the problem I have is when something is just a pure inside bit of knowledge. I'm not a big fan, but that's just me. Who cares? They're
it's
both
true.
prime numbers. That's a good one. Maybe
They're
you're
both
trying to like
prime numbers, and it's not quite a palindrome, but it looks
right,
like one.
right. It's mirror
Um,
images. Yeah, we're warming up to it now.
uh, I mean, it's not. I thought Utopia Revisited was a pretty good album title. Um, I don't think I could have named it anything else.
No, that was
Um,
fine.
yeah,
Don't get smart.
Don't Get
I thought
Smart.
that was a fabulous combination of a title and album cover. I thought that was a
Right, the Big
magnificent.
Apple in the Sky.
Right, it's sort of
Very
like
strange.
Rene Magritte with a gun, and he's pissed. He's
Right,
really unhappy
he's
about
like,
something.
"Don't get smart."
Yeah, no, it was, but it was menacing. It was cool. It was funny and menacing at the same time, and eye catching, and all that kind of stuff. And so it's interesting. Like one of the things that makes me think about is Moneyball, the book,
Hmm, okay.
which is, I think, an unbelievably good book, a really heavy book in so many different ways. The only problem with the book is its title. It just sounds like a joke book, Moneyball.
Right, right, you're
And it's
right,
like,
yeah, that
oh, why did you call it that? Um,
right. It
you
did
know,
well. It did well anyway. In
it
spite of
did
the
well
title, it did
anyway,
well.
but still, people treat it like a lightweight book. Lewis has a problem with titles. He did the one about Kahneman and Tversky was called The Undoing Project. Okay, dude, really? That title tells me absolutely nothing.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, what's
Um,
funny? I have something to say about Moneyball, by the way. Josh Cantor was talking to me about the team, that Josh Cantor's might have a part of the Red Sox team because he plays the organ there.
right?
And they really have kind of warmed up to him as like a member because he does bring a lot of value to the park. And he's done all that on his own. Most of that was Twitter when that was still a thing. I think he might be using Blue Sky now, but just taking organ requests from the fans, it's a
Mhm.
huge deal. And, you know, he gets a request from people who have written the song who are in the stands, so it's very cool, and then there's, like, viral video around that, and, he plays a lot of Husker Du, and I think so who's the
The
guy?
Cars? I mean, are the Cars still I mean,
Yeah,
I
I
don't
know he
I
must have played the Cars, and he
I don't
plays
know.
he plays They Might Be Giants a lot, and, he plays a lot of really cool stuff, but
What are
it's
the
on
big
the
Boston
organ, it's just
bands?
like,
Aerosmith, right? Aerosmith is a
that's right.
Boston band.
Yeah, but people
Cars,
come from everywhere.
Jay
They just show
Giles,
up in the park because that's one of the things you do when you visit Boston, even if you're, like, a famous musician,
like
you
The
show up and
Boss.
yeah. I
Even
don't
like
know that I don't know that Bruce has been to see a Red Sox game. I guess he would be there if the Yankees are playing,
I don't know.
but I don't
Anyway, you were
but
saying he has
oh, yeah, he
managed
was
to
about Moneyball. He says, that's part of the picture." He said, "But, like, we just fired one of the guys with the best numbers. We let him go, traded him away, and everybody thought it was totally stupid, and after we did, our game winnings went up, not
Mhm,
down." And he said, "That's because what people don't usually take into account is the way the team coheres.
mhm.
They're a single organism. And when the interpersonal relations are working well in the team plays better.
Sure.
And you can't do that by the numbers. That's something that you actually kind of have to have a feel
Oh,
for,
yeah.
like who's grading who, and it'd be really hard to tell, right? So I think they've made trades recently that have actually boosted their performance that had nothing to do with the numbers.
Oh, yeah. No, because now everybody's doing Moneyball, so now
Right.
you gotta find something else, to give yourself an edge. And even Bill James, one of the key architects of that whole mindset, said, "Look, like anything else, you can take this way too far."
Right.
And that seems to be
Yeah.
like what everybody's doing
Yeah.
here. He said, "I didn't create this mess, but I certainly had a hand in it." and I'm bowing out at this point. Really, it's. I was thinking about the movie today a lot
I
because
did see the movie. Yeah.
what
I saw the movie, I didn't read the book, yeah.
the
Book is much better. I
dude.
know the movie was forgettable,
You
yeah.
you have to listen
Alright,
to
I'm
that
gonna put
book.
it on my
You
list.
have to listen because you'll enjoy it and it's short and
Alright.
you've seen the movie and it's hilarious. I'm not gonna go
I
that
gotta
well-worn
quote from
path
it.
again. No, I'm not gonna but the one thing
No,
I
then at
do love
least
in the
we'll have it,
movie
yeah.
is that final scene with John Henry, the owner of the Boston Red Sox,
Right, yes.
when he says, you're threatening their whole way of life. And when you do that to the people who have their hands on the switch and their feet on the wheel, they go batshit crazy.
Yeah.
I've been
Yeah.
thinking about a lot of that recently. We've been and uh and the funny thing about John Henry is that he's a real person.
He
And
played
his
himself, did he? I don't
no,
remember. He didn't,
no, I
okay.
don't think so.
I mean, he's a
No,
very charismatic individual, so I would have thought that maybe they would have just gotten him to play himself, but,
I don't know. I don't think so.
uh,
I don't think that was John Henry. But the interesting thing is where John Henry came from soybeans. His father was a
mm,
soybean farmer,
huh,
and he was one of the first guys to start figuring out that, hey, if the price of soybeans goes up a half a percentage point in 5 minutes, there's a 96% probability that it'll go up another half a percentage point before declining in the next 30 seconds. So if
right.
I can get like all these flocking algorithms,
Yeah,
market movement algorithms, and just crushed it with soybeans. I made a gazillion dollars.
right.
But it's a fascinating, it's a very deep book. It's the book that leads to Kahneman Tversky, to the Undoing Project, to all that kind of stuff.
Okay, alright.
But anyway,
So maybe I need to kind of read those in sequence with the
no, just,
not really.
but the whole point is that Moneyball is such a fun book. The only problem with Moneyball is it's got this goofy name.
Right.
Moneyball.
Yeah,
It's like it's an incredibly funny book. I find it one of the most comic books I've ever read in my life. I love rereading it over and over again. It is so hilariously funny. But it's also, you can tell that Michael Lewis just loves it. He is
right.
just so much in it. He's having so much fun. And not to really spoil the book for you, but one of the key elements of the book is that he wants to be Billy Bean and
Yeah.
Billy Bean wants to be Michael Lewis.
Oh, interesting.
It's really interesting. These one guy, and it's very much about missed trains. It's very much about people making decisions early in life. And Billy Bean was lucky enough not to really reverse that decision, but to at least get revenge. It's a really amazing story. It's really, really cool.
Okay.
But anyway, we digress. So you were talking about
It's all digression, but yeah, so we were talking about titles of albums and that title of the book, not not great, but it did great anyway. I know I actually have a good track record in terms of naming albums. I should really give this more thought. I do like No Place Like Nowhere. I
Mhm,
like They're Everywhere. I really like More Songs About Me. Um,
right.
and so, I've done all right.
Well, more
Um,
songs about me was funny,
yeah,
tongue in cheek, and it was very because back that time people were still talking about more songs about buildings and food by the Talking Heads and
right.
things like that.
Yeah.
So it was a commentary. It's just with 13 to 31, it's like the monolith in the middle of a cornfield. It's like
It's like,
okay,
what is this?
you
Yeah.
know,
All right. All
whatever.
right. All right. Fair enough.
But
Yeah.
maybe that's what you're looking for. Maybe that's what you're going for.
The World of Particulars was a good title.
Yep. But
Strawman.
also
Pretty
the
good.
artwork that went with it. That's the key thing.
Yeah.
The World of Particulars had like one of those Cornell kind of boxes, right? The World of
Right. My mom
Particular,
had actually put that together. Yeah.
right? So there was definitely this whole sense of tactility of the material world, and and that kind of stuff, and all that stuff. So maybe you have a great graphic, but the problem is nobody does. Well, you have your graphic of like a memento. It looks like a keepsake box that you have
Yeah. It's
with
actually
like
an
a
ashtray from my uncle's ashtray with a pen,
and some beads.
knitted heart, some mala beads, capo.
Yeah, the capo. I like the capo a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Truthfully, I thought the
There's a
capo was really
little
interesting.
ink filler there that I'm going to replace with something else. I just haven't found the right tchotchke. But yeah, I think I might keep that. But then I need to think about, might be shadow boxing doesn't go with that. It's also what goes with the image. I could call it Filk is the Mind Killer. but I don't think that would really speak to that
Ilk?
many people. Filk, do you don't know about the story about Filk?
No.
There was a science fiction convention here in Boston years ago, and they were going to have folk music written about science fiction, so theme related folk songs. But on the poster, they had the I and the O are really close to each other, so they typed out Filk, and it went to press. And ever since then, all the music at a science fiction convention is called Filk, which, first of all,
It's a very uncomfortable word.
it doesn't sound. It sounds very bad. Don't. Yeah, it sounds like a verb that you wouldn't want to picture.
But it has no muscles.
It doesn't feel.
Bill is like,
Uh,
okay, am I like mispronounced? Is there something wrong with the tape or something? You know, it's just like awful. Like,
Is that
yeah,
like fava bean milk or?
yeah,
eh.
yeah. Oh. So yeah, Filk is the mind killer. So yeah, pictures on albums. Uh,
Well, yeah, Dark Side of no. I wish you were here.
yep.
Fabulous, fabulous picture.
Hmm.
Um,
Pictures plural, many different pictures, all
right, but I
kinds of
mean the
stuff.
man shaking the
Yeah, the
man
guy
who's
on
on fire.
fire, all
Yeah.
the Led Zeppelin albums with their
Oh,
pictures and things
beautiful,
like that. But
beautiful.
now we're starting to
Absolutely.
sound like a bunch of old
Old
guys.
guys. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
true.
which is exactly what we are.
As it turns out,
Yeah.
been around for a while. So I continue my adventure on TikTok. I'm not creating much content. I'm just basically lurking there, and I
Uh-huh.
found two different creators that I'm really liking in terms of what they do for their live videos. And so you have the option after making a few videos that you can go live on TikTok. And then, like, I don't know, there's sort of a weird thing, combination of things that have to happen for people to actually come and stay. And what people tend to stay for is arguments about God. And the term used on TikTok is deconstruction, which I find interesting. So if you used to be a Christian and you have become an ex-Christian, then you've deconstructed or thoroughly deconstructed. And there are
It
all
only
these,
it only
yeah,
applies to Christianity. There's not like deconstructed
really
Muslims or
good,
deconstructed Buddhists.
really good question. The conversation seems to all be about like, yeah, Christianity, either Catholicism or evangelical, like Baptists or
Yeah, any Christian
Methodists, or
sect.
I don't know that Methodists are really. I mean, not a lot of deconstructing Quakers there,
Wait,
but you know,
just
partially
leave. There's the
deconstructed.
door. I mean, nobody's stopping you. We don't really care.
Um, so I I watch one of them is sort of about that, and it's by this guy whose name on TikTok is Batcolite, but he has two accounts. So he goes live under Batcolite, and then he is a guest on his own live thing under the name Thrail. And he has a very low voice. So, sort of Ken Nordine type of a voice.
Right.
And all he does is the title that you have to have a graphic up that's provocative. And usually, if it's provocative, like, there's no God, prove me wrong, or,
Yeah.
or atheists, why do you hate the Lord? And then atheists go on and are like, I don't hate the Lord, I just don't
Right.
believe it. So it's enragement, right? I mean, enragement is
Yeah.
engagement. Strange thing about Thrail, I'm gonna just call him Thrail, is that his is just the title is just, can you question your beliefs? And so the question in the graphic becomes the question you need to answer when you talk to Thrail. And Thrail prefers like Bible pounding Christians, but we'll talk to anybody about what they believe. And he just asks questions with very few exceptions. I ran into one today. It was like ask Thrail what he believes, kind of a day. And he has a lot of monitor guests that he reinvites. I'm sort of one of them. He'll have me up every once in a while. I don't have a firm enough beliefs that I'm interesting in that way, but I will ask questions of people who do have beliefs. And so his whole thing is just, why do you believe that? And then he has enough knowledge to say, well, like for example, the double slit experiment. A lot of people think that this is proof that thought changes the nature of matter, right? So it can get into science, and quantum physics is, of course, there's like a gap there that can be filled with woo-woo stuff. Um, and Thrail said, and I looked it up, and he's right. He said actually, the act of measuring interferes with the experiment, and that's what they've discovered. So the actual materials and methods that they're using to measure um, particles going through two slits. Do you know about the double slit
Yeah.
experiment? Oh yeah. There isn't a way to measure the particles without interacting with the particles, and once you do that, then it sort of defeats the experiment, right? Because it's not you can't actually just watch a single photon go through one slit and show up on both in a wave pattern. Um, you do have to interact with that photon in order to know whether it passed through the left or the right. Um, and so, a lot of the claims that the observer changes the result, meaning which would mean that if all particles are in a state of uh, indeterminacy until they're observed, it would mean that somehow we as observers are affecting the natural universe at a fundamental level. But if you really dig into it, you find out that it really doesn't say that. And so there it is. I had the belief that it did.
Oh, okay.
And I was able to kind of, he was like, well, actually, I don't think that that's what it says. Why don't you go look it up? And I was like, yeah, I don't really want to spout about science if I don't really know the full thing. And it really caused me to kind of dig into that.
Yeah.
Um, but
Um,
it's
um,
amazing.
there's
Yeah.
a lot of hand waving about science
Hmm.
on the internet. There's a lot. We've talked about this before. There's a lot of hand waving about crypto. There's a lot of hand waving about AI. There's a lot of hand waving about quantum mechanics. And you start hearing the same explanations over and over and over again. You realize everybody's just like, they're just reading the Wikipedia or the AP report on it, and then just
Yeah.
changing a couple of words and passing it off as their own. But honestly, a lot of this stuff, I don't have a really clear opinion on a lot of these
Well,
things
it
because,
got me to go down the rabbit hole. I
well,
mean,
that's
it was
good.
it was
That's a
something
good
where
thing
I was inspired to go check it out.
because these are not trivial. Like
No,
quantum
these are
mechanics
kind
is
of
not trivial at all. People try to make it sound kind of trivial, but it's not. It really there's a lot of hard math in it. There's a lot of subtlety in it, and people try to dumb it down, but you really can't.
yeah, yeah. Um, it's still an interesting experiment. And then there's a there's a another experiment that sort of tried to define whether or not the mechanism of observation was having an effect, and it involves semi-permeable mirrors. And at that point I was like, I have no idea what's going on anymore. It's impossible to track, and I have no idea what the conclusions are. But it is an interesting to look at a thing to look at without sort of jumping to the conclusions that everybody would love to jump to, which is that that reality is a hologram or whatever it is that you'd
That-
like to
it-
believe.
it- yeah, you're a long way from any of that, and also it's kind of it's just kind of pointless. Um, but okay, so you got Thrail. Is it
Yeah,
THR
Thrail
or
and
PH?
Baccolite. Thryle.
Thrile.
Thrile. No, Thrayle. Thrail. Is it
Okay.
a reference to something? I have no idea if it is. I could
13
look
to
it up on the internet,
31.
but whatever. Um, really interesting lives, really unbiased. He's incredibly kind to the guests, although also merciless. It's a wild combination, and the conversations can become really interesting. And there's all these the others. I think I said this before, is that you kind of discover quickly that the atheists know so much more about the Bible than the Christians, which is which is why. In fact, it's because they read it, and that's probably why they're atheist. But um, that is interesting. So then the other one is this guy Spencer, Radio Spencer. So this guy Spencer, and I don't know his last name. Um, he used to be a Fox News host, and he was an extreme right winger and fundamentalist Christian. And then he had a show, right wing radio show, Radio Spencer. I think it was out of California. And I think same stuff. And then at some point he changed and he calls himself fully deconstructed, right? So there's that term again. And no longer right wing. And I don't know if he's left wing. Didn't think that Kamala Harris was a very good candidate, but I think he's rooting for the left, right? Um, so he's made a 180 on a number of levels. And I ran into one of his lives. He was sort of out walking, waiting for the mechanic to finish with his car. And he was walking by a Buddhist monastery. And he was just talking about, like, man, when I went into, like, Christian churches, I was always feeling judged and everything. And these monks are just delightful. They're so nice. And they let me use the bathroom. And, um, so he's an interesting dude. But he has all the radio skills. And so he's on this kind of interactive format as a radio guy, and he does definitely get into deconstruction, right? Which it's odd that that's now being, that used to mean one thing in the 1980s in philosophy in 101
Right.
or philosophy, the post structuralists. Um, and you were studying Jacques Derrida and feeling very intelligent. Um, but yeah, deconstruction meant deconstructing the text. And in that way, it is true because I think it does imply that you've scrutinized the roots of your Christian faith and found them lacking. So it's it's interesting, and it's very interesting to kind of hear. I was saying he's a little bit like Montgomery Delaney in terms of his whole affect. Um, he's amiable, but he has changed from his right-leaning tendencies, really to the extreme. He talks about, animals that he's saved. He thinks that he was talking about how when you treat animals in nature with kindness, that it just feels like it does a favor for your ecosystem. And he walks around the woods picking up trash. That doesn't necessarily make him left or right wing. I'm just saying his stuff seems to be about compassion, but he has all of the trappings of a right wing radio host. So those two guys, I would say, out of all of them that I've seen, uh, there's one more. Anna Stone is interesting because, again, deconstruction, and from an evangelical standpoint in Utah, um, she's going back and kind of examining the fundamentalism that she grew up with, and also examining Mormonism in Utah. Her stuff gets pretty in the weeds. Uh,
Well, so what do you mean in the weeds?
you know, um, what was it? Grave. She was talking about grave soaking today, I think, like where members of her church would go and lie on graves and soak up the holiness of a minister who had passed away.
Okay. So we're talking about the minutiae of Mormon practices.
Well, hers was fundamentalist Christian
Okay,
practices.
but it's okay. So that's what you mean by in the weeds, is that it's very much about very, very specific practices. Okay.
She talks about her experience speaking in tongues, right?
Right.
So, really gets into kind of the details of what it was like, and also how she changed her mind about it. And again, it's like the flat Earth thing, right? I mean, those lives or those groups are not very interesting, except insofar as you might learn that you might have some hard held beliefs that are impervious to evidence, and it would be good if you could discover them, right?
Right.
because it can lead to some some problems if you truly believe the earth is flat.
Well, sorry I don't have a witty comeback
No,
for
no,
that long extended thing.
it's just
Um,
odd because, most people view this app, and I don't know how long the app will be around, as trivial or stupid, and I think when I first encountered it, it really was.
what app? What are we talking about?
TikTok,
Oh,
right? It's under attack by
okay.
the Mad King, but the I don't I think it maybe just trying to extort money out of the owners so to keep it going, so he's always threatening to shut it down. I think it was supposed to shut down today, but then he was like, "Oh, I'm not gonna do that." So, I think at first it was seen as like a place where teenagers do stupid things, but so I'm surprised to see like pretty decent philosophical conversations going on there. And I'm not sure that I'm really seeing that kind of interactivity on any other platform. And so what's interesting too is that I grew up in New York City and I went to Philadelphia and then I went to Boston. A very limited sphere of who I'm going to have a conversation with. Right? I
Right,
mean, most of the people I'm going to meet, we're going to agree on a lot of stuff.
right.
This app actually, I do encounter people I have nothing in common with. And that's interesting.
So are you conversing with people on TikTok?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah, I mean,
Oh,
I've tried running my own live, but, I get I get, like, a person. I think I don't have, like, the right banner behind me, like, "You're a jerk, debate me."
yeah.
Um, and I'm not sure I really would that would not be enjoyable, but I was on Spencer's, he called me up as a guest because he's really interested about Buddhism, and he asked me questions about Buddhism. Um and he's actually thinking about introducing his daughter to the monks at the monastery. All of this is public. It was out on the show. Um, and I've also interacted with Thrail a few times, showing up when I can't sleep, um, dialing in. It's like dialing into the AM radio show,
Yeah,
except that there's like
yeah.
six people there and they're all having a debate about something. It's fabulous.
Hmm.
I mean, I don't know why I hate to say it. Like, I feel embarrassed, but it's fabulous.
Why is it fabulous?
Um, Open debate about any topic that people have strongly held beliefs, actual communication happening between people who would never talk to each other.
Mhm.
I think it's actually a good thing. This is how you avoid wars.
Hmm. Well, it's funny because they're, the all the talk is about, this Kirk guy getting killed, and,
Mm,
uh, and they said one of his quotes was, when people stop talking, that's when violence starts." My response is, "Yeah, that's half of it, and when people start talking, that's also when violence starts
that's
too
true.
sometimes."
It depends on what they're saying. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I think
we didn't get to this point through the strict enforcement of silence.
yeah, no, that's a really good point. And I think that that's why the format is different. That's why I guess that's why the format is an exception. Because I've seen the YouTube videos of the Jubilee, Jubilee debates.
No.
It's like, one Christian versus 30 atheists. It's called Surrounded, and then Jordan Peterson sits in the middle, and then people kind of race to the other chair, to debate Jordan Peterson about the topic. The topics that there are like 3 topics throughout the session, but I don't think ultimately because the guy in the chair is showboating, even if it's like Mehdi Hassan, who was very good, they're they're using their skills as a public speaker, and
Sure.
they're not gonna be swayed by any it was it was basically Mehdi Hassan versus a room full of fascists, so it was just terrifying instead of I mean, I guess it was educational insofar as like, yeah, there are people out there who believe this crap, but, it doesn't do much more than that, whereas the back and forth, the interactivity, and um, non-celebrity participants, right? People whose livelihood doesn't depend on them putting forward a particular persona. I suppose the host, if they're making a lot of money off of the engagement on TikTok, they have something to lose from this. But it's not the same as a TV personality, like the guy who was shot.
Right. So, yeah. Well, it seems like it's gotten your undivided attention.
For now, yeah. Yeah. I really need to get back to writing my novel, and I need to stop doing this. But I'm pretty engaged, unfortunately.
Cool. What am I doing? I went to a wedding
Hmm.
and I drove to a wedding and I drove back. And fortunately, I live in a very, very beautiful part of the country. So the drive was actually really nice because we were driving through New York and Vermont and New Hampshire.
Oh,
And
nice.
it's not the fall foliage season yet, but it's getting there, and it was really, really pretty. And the weather's been beautiful recently, just wonderful time. So that's the sum total of excitement in my life right now.
Well, the foliage thing is no small thing here in the Northeast. I mean, are you going to go apple picking? That's one of the things that I totally love. I guess it depends on the orchard, and I
I
am
wasn't
playing a
planning
gig in.
on it
Uh,
because I have plenty of my own apples.
how do you like them apples?
They're delicious.
Oh,
My
good.
apples rock. They're kind of misshapen. That's the only problem with them is that they're
Oh,
kind of
that's right. You.
ugly.
I'm sorry. I thought you meant store bought apples, but
No,
you have apples on your own tree.
I did, and there's plenty more there. I just can't reach them.
Holy
There's
moly!
another 60 apples. I just can't get at them because I don't have a tall enough ladder.
Maybe there's like an apple grabber you can purchase, like a telescoping basket.
Yeah, yeah.
You can picture. I don't want to picture you like falling out of a tree.
No, I don't want to follow a tree either. But yeah, no, I got apples off my tree. I don't know why I didn't pick them last year or the year before. It's
Because I
really
can't
odd.
imagine that your
I
own
think
apples would
this
be
year was
good, right?
really good because I think what happened was there was a lot of rain in spring. There's
Mhm.
a lot of water in spring, and then it got really dry for like 2 months. And I think that did something because the apples they're good. They taste really nice. I have them with some cheddar cheese. I
Sweet.
just
Oh, I
slice up
love that.
I just slice up some cheddar cheese and slice the apple, and Bob's your uncle.
Yeah. No, that's one of my favorite things is
Right.
cheese. The cheddar sharp, really sharp cheddar
Yeah,
and
and a
apple.
sweet
Yeah.
apple.
Mm.
So that was good. But yeah, I got my apples. But yeah, apple picking time would be great. Um, when I went to Lily and I stopped at a store in Vermont. You know, when you go, you don't come from my direction. But when you come from the west, there's this very beautiful scenic overlook. You go way up, and then there's
Yeah.
this beautiful scenic overlook, and there's a big store there. And we went to the store, and they had a massive collection of hot sauces,
Mm.
which I can tell getting really old. When I
What, too hot?
no, when you start laughing out loud at something called Dr. Aspern's, or the
Burning
other
ring of
one,
fire.
another one
Yeah.
called Satan's Rage, and then
Ooh.
another one called Uranus Burns, which
Oh,
is
you're kidding.
Yeranisberns.
They didn't even go with the planet.
And it just
Oh
shows
my
some old
goodness.
like prospector guy, colon cleanser, sphincter tightener. I mean, it was just a
Just
wall of all these
oh,
sauces with all these names. And I was just like, no, I'm not going to laugh. I'm not going to laugh. I'm going to start laughing now because it was actually genuinely funny. So yeah, that's the sum total of entertainment. Um, Traveling to and from, where did I go to? Bedford, New Hampshire for a wedding.
Bedford. Mm.
But it was literally a surgical strike. It was like show up an hour before the wedding, sleep overnight, leave at 7 o'clock the next morning.
Yeah.
So
Mm.
didn't really get much chance to socialize or hang out with people. But I did that, and taking care of medical stuff,
Right.
doing a good job of it,
Good.
working down it, getting my shots, getting my teeth all dealt with, getting all that stuff. walking around the park. Uh,
No, you've inspired me. Yeah, I got 3 vaccines at the same time 2 days ago, and yesterday I couldn't do anything.
yeah.
I was running a fever. I managed to, like, answer a couple of emails, and then I just lay back down.
Uh,
It was so strange, when you feel like you're really sick and you're really not. It's very strange.
well, it's your immune system is tying itself in knots,
Yeah.
but I hope it passed relatively quickly.
It took 24 hours, though.
Yeah,
It took
24
and
hours.
even a little longer, like, it took a full day after the event, which is usually it's like by the time that I had gotten the shots the next day, it's gone, but it was all through the evening.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, we're
but
getting
I
old.
I got some big ones, it was like pneumonia,
Yeah, I got that one.
you know.
COVID.
That one burns. Did it burn? Pneumonia?
I don't know. I mean, sometimes I get like a hot patch on my arm,
Mm.
but I got pneumonia, I got COVID, I got flu, and I still have to go get RSV. I got shingles a long time ago. That's supposedly a really important one to get.
Really important, 2
Really,
shots. You have to
yes.
do both. Yeah.
Did you get it yet?
I got both, yeah.
Okay, good man.
Yeah. This old
Uh,
person talk. This is great. And then, I got hepatitis B because I'm of a generation where the vaccine wore off.
mhm.
So if you're actually, you might want to check. So I got tested to see if I had any antibodies for Hep B, and I had none. So they gave me the Hep B vaccine and influenza and pneumonia, and
Did I tell you? Did I tell you
I
about the
got all
convers?
3.
Did I tell you about the conversation I had with my doctor about binge drinking?
No. Oh, yeah, you d yes. You
Okay.
should tell it, though.
Well, did I tell it on air? Am I just repeating
No,
what we said
you
last?
told me off air, I think.
Yeah. So I go to my doctor, and she's like, and she's a lovely lady from the Ivory Coast. She says, do you smoke marijuana? I'm like, no, I never got into that. She says, well, I have to ask. I said, it's okay. It's okay. There's nothing wrong with marijuana. She says, and so how much do you drink? I said, eh. I said, if you average it all out, it's probably like a bottle a day. She goes, a bottle?
Wait, did you told her it was beer and
Yeah,
not like
I said a
whiskey?
bottle of beer a day. Maybe I didn't. Maybe that's the
A bottle a day,
foundation
it's
of
like, yeah, that might have been the
yeah.
misunderstanding.
But
Like,
I thought it was
what?
clear that I meant a bottle of beer, and I said, I don't drink like 3 bottles. Sometimes I drink 3 bottles. She goes, 3 bottle? She goes, a bottle? And I'm like, yeah, like a bottle. Like when you go buy a 6-pack of beer, there's like 6 bottles. That's why it's called a 6-pack. And she goes, oh,
Dylan
like a
Thomas.
can. I'm like, okay, yeah, fine.
Oh,
Can,
okay,
bottle,
she knew.
whatever
Yeah,
container you want to call it. Okay.
right.
It's just, and she goes, you have three in a day? I'm like, yeah. And she
Mhm.
goes, it's binge drinking is, not good for you. I really wanted to say to her, lady, for my parents, like 3 beers is a palate cleanser. I mean, that's an aperitif. That's a wave of the hand.
Yeah, yeah,
3 beers is, and it depends enormously on what 3 beers you're talking about. If you're
yeah,
talking about 3 double IPAs at 9% each, that's a lot different than 3 Guinness Stouts at 4.5%
right.
each, like more than twice.
Yeah.
So but I just thought it was funny that if they consider 3 bottles of beer binge drinking, whoa.
Well, I don't know if it's changed. I mean, that's the thing is they used to say like, "Oh, you wanna keep it under 14 beers a week," right? 14 drinks a
I
week.
could do
And
that. Yeah.
right, and I think that it's changed, right? I think that the latest information on alcohol use is that it's all bad. Like, it doesn't matter how much you have. I mean, my doctor asked me how much I'm like, I literally have 1 alcoholic beverage a week. And she didn't say, "Oh, that sounds pretty good." She was like, "Okay," and then wrote it down. I'm like, "Was that too much? What do I did I I'm sorry."
I
No, it keeps me off the meth, I mean, what did
No, it's really weird because, you know, you and I have been around long enough that I've heard it all, Go jogging. And then
Right.
Jim Fix died. They found out he was like smoking a pack of Marlboro a day and eating red. So they said, okay, smoking and eating steaks is bad for you. Then the Atkins diet came along and said, no, eating steaks is great for you. You should keep
Mhm.
off the carbohydrates.
You
And
want
then
as
the
much
paleo people come along and say,
yeah.
you stay off that and do this. And I'm like, okay, guys, you know what? My feeling is that what it boils down to is that in the 10 top things that affect your health, 1 through 9 are be born to the right parents. Because if you're dealt a lousy set of DNA, you you're screwed. I've met people who are completely fit and completely aerobic, and they are completely in trouble.
Well, that, I don't know that they take stress into account, but, like, stress
These
is a
people not
big
stressed.
killer.
They just have wackadoodle genes. I mean, they
No, I mean,
just
the doctors. I don't know if the doctors really take stress into account. Stress can
I
be
don't
a
know what they take
serious
into it.
killer.
It's
Mhm.
just it's kind of pointless. I mean, there's certain things that clearly, probably not a great idea. Smoking a pack of Marlboro a day for 30
Probably
years,
not good.
probably not good.
Yeah.
Although, as I said, when I used to smoke, and my doctor sat me down, he says, "Look, you're not going to die of lung cancer." He
Oh.
says, statistically speaking, it's pretty rare for people to die of lung cancer. But what I can tell you is that the last 10 years of your life are really going to suck.
Oh. Mm.
You're not going
Mm.
to be able to climb a staircase.
Oh, because you have the damage done to the lungs.
Right. He
Ugh.
says that's the real thing. But everybody misstates these things. They say, oh, you're going to get lung cancer. It's like lung cancer is really not the issue. The real issue is emphysema
Emphysema.
and
Right.
bronchitis.
And
Those are the real problems
co
because they
co
just
what is it called? COPD or
COPD, chronic
COPD?
obstructive pulmonary disease, or something,
Yeah.
whatever it is. I'm not a doctor and I don't play one on TV, but um, but yeah. So anyway, yeah, I've been trying to, but I really, as I told you, I really like this thing of I'm just sitting there and saying, should I take a walk? Get up
Right. Right.
and just
Do it
walk out
now.
the door.
Yeah.
Just get up and walk out the door. You don't
Decide
need
where you're going once you've gotten to the door or
Yeah.
after.
Or
Yeah.
even not even that. You just you don't need you don't need earbuds, you don't need this, you don't need that. Just get up and walk out the door, see what you can see, then come back.
Yeah.
But yeah. Um I mean I could go on and on about really I'll go on about something that's really stupid if you want me
Okay.
to. Which is my keyboard.
Okay.
So this is
Did you get
my
like a yeah, like a physical
no, that's my
raised keyboard?
this is my old IBM Model M.
Okay.
And as I tell people, Vladimir Horowitz did not play in a Casio tone. Okay. Marta Argerich, doesn't play on a Pianosaurus.
Oh,
Great artists deserve a great axe. You don't play on a plastic ukulele, you play on a real guitar. This is a real keyboard.
right.
Um, and I've bought $200 keyboards, recent keyboards that
Mhm.
everybody touts as the greatest thing with the M style, the brown style, contactless, blah blah. They suck. These keyboards suck because they're meant for gaming, so they're incredibly light to the touch.
Right.
So I'm constantly hitting double keys all the time.
Mm.
Whereas this thing has far more resistive.
Yeah, it's a
Here, look
clackety clack
for
right
our
there.
for our users
Yeah.
at home. That's the sound of greatness. This is the sound. This is what made America great. Listen to that. That's the IBM 101 keyboard. Not only is it a keyboard, it's also an item of self-defense. This
That's
thing
right.
weighs about 12 pounds. And trust me, I know very well that you can strike it with your fist with as much force as you can muster, and it will
It will
and
keep on clacking.
it will keep on clacking.
It's great.
And so it died, which is not surprising.
Okay.
It's 40 years old. I mean, it's a 98, so it's not that old. It's only about 30 years old or something like that. And so I'm desperately trying to fix it. And there are lots of stores, and I found a store that sells replacement circuit boards for it. But I'm just fascinated by all the people who say, "Oh, this one, this special keyboard," and then I got sucked into, um, uh, I got sucked into an Adam Savage video
Mhm.
where he's speaking to. It actually was a fascinating video, and it is interest, not the ostensible object, but the meta message of it. So what it's about this guy who went down the rabbit hole of trying to make the perfect keyboard.
Interesting.
Now, perfect is defined by a very specific set of people.
Right.
a very specific community who are in communication with each other. And the key thing is it has to be, it's all about the sound.
Huh.
Um, and the big bugaboo, supposedly, all the focus is on one thing: the space bar. The space bar is far and away the noisiest key on a traditional keyboard. It makes the most
Interesting.
noise because it's long
Mhm.
and you're typically hitting it from one end or another. So you're basically, it's a seesaw. You're putting a lot of torque on that bar, and so to make the space bar work, they put this metal rod underneath it. And you can see this if you take a keyboard. Most keyboards, if you pry up the space bar, you'll see that there's a metal rod that runs the entire length of it. And that metal rod is used to distribute the force along the length of the spacebar. So when you hit it at the extreme end, it
Right.
doesn't just bind
Yeah.
and it doesn't make too much noise. It still makes a lot of noise, but it doesn't make, and the reason why it makes so much noise is that it has to be loose because
Mhm.
otherwise it would bind. If you hit it with your thumb on the extreme left or right hand side and it didn't have a lot of slop, it would bind.
Hmm.
So that's why it's really loosey goosey. It's got this metal bar and stuff like that. And so this guy went down the rabbit hole of making the perfect keyboard, making it very quiet and stuff like that. And
Hmm.
it took him 10 years. And he probably spent hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Wow.
And he runs a company now that hand assembles these, well, not bespoke, but these hand assembled keyboards that are for ultra enthusiasts.
What are they
Uh,
called?
I don't know.
Oh,
It's
okay.
if you look at Adam Savage tested keyboard space bar. If you search on those keyword terms, it'll probably pull up the video almost immediately. It's on YouTube. It's a video, and the guy has this keyboard company. They're all hand assembled,
Interesting.
um, and he had to. Really, the breakthrough for him was consulting with a Danish engineering group that consults Lego. And these are guys who like spend a lot of time thinking about how two little pieces of plastic like fit together with each other, which
Wow.
is really the foundation of Lego. If you've never know, the whole basis of Lego is this obsession with something called grip, which
Hmm.
is the ability to make two pieces of plastic that you
Right.
can easily put together, and you
And they
can
stay.
separate them with a very precise amount of force, no less and no more.
Right.
It's really hard to do, to make Legos that much fun
Believe it.
and that consistent. So these are the same guys who helped this guy with the keyboard, and they make this keyboard where there's no spring in the space bar, there's no posts. It
Hmm.
uses a completely different mechanism for the space bar, and it's perfectly quiet. At the end of which I'm like, gives a shit. I want the keyboard that makes as much noise as possible. I mean, I love that sound. I love the
Right.
loud noise. I mean,
Right.
to me, that's part of the whole thing. I'm banging out text, literally. And I'm like, who are these people who are sitting around trying to get keyboards ultra quiet? It's like, do you actually write anything? And then that leads into the whole other rabbit hole community that I'm a part of, which is electronic music instruments, where people go on these incredibly long things about, oh, the triangle wave from the chord ba ba ba, is not exactly like the. I'm like,
Huh.
how many records have you like? I mean, do you like gig? I mean, really, is this just fetishism? I guess
Well,
fetishism
and
is
some people only
okay.
hear the
It's fine.
artifacts in music. I mean, it depends on kind of what you're listening for.
Oh yeah, no,
But
I'm not really being critical. I'm just saying it's so different from what I want, which is I want to make text and I want to make as much noise making text as I possibly can. So I love
I
the things they're trying to fix are the things that I love. And it's the same thing with like electronic musical instruments. The things they criticize, it's funny how, and then there's sort of there's sort of this consensus opinion that, oh, this these things sound hard, these are better devices because they have more of these. I'm like, it's nonsense. It's all
mm,
about how you feel when you press a key down.
right.
In both scenarios, if you have a musical keyboard and you press the key down and you don't like what comes out, it's a bad machine for
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
Well, I
all there
mean,
is to it.
retro keyboards are actually quite big amongst certain communities, and so that was a keyboard that you already had was the IBM.
Not really already had. I had to buy it probably about 5 years. Yeah, I mean, Model M's, which are like the classic IBM keyboard, the Model
Yeah,
M's, also the Model 101s, they're going for at least $200
right,
if they're working correct, which is fine because if you want to go and buy the Keychron V5, Master Blaster Gamers keyboard, that's probably going to set you back about $200 to $300
right,
anyway.
right,
And I just don't dig it. It's not
right.
my thing. But what I find is fascinating is that there emerges this consensus opinion about what constitutes a good X. Oh,
Yeah.
this is the best keyboard for people because it's so quiet. I'm like, do you actually work for a living? Do you actually sit and type
Well, if
for a
you're in an
living?
office build, if you're in like a
Even
cubicle, right,
better.
you don't necessarily
Drive
even
them
better.
insane. Hook an amp up to it. Put a contact mic on it and get an amp. Yes, I agree. And part of it is how, and I think a lot, like many things in life, and circling back to your whole discussion of deconstructing Christianity and asking questions about your beliefs, a lot of it comes down to what happened when you're a kid.
Yeah,
A
yeah,
lot of things
yeah,
come down to what happened when you're a kid. When I was a kid, the first thing I got my hands on was a Royal manual typewriter with like the ribbon spool
hmm,
and the bang, 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 bang. And man, I
yeah,
laid into that thing like there is no tomorrow. And you do that, and then you have an IBM Selectric Model 2, IBM Selectric Model 3, which still require a certain amount of force, not nearly as much as a manual. And then you get the IBM 101s and the Model M keyboards, which require a certain amount of force. And the whole point is that once you're used to that, everything else just feels kind of it feels like if you're used to playing a piano keyboard, a fully weighted piano
right,
keyboard, and then you go to a spring-loaded synth keyboard, you're going to be disappointed if you're expecting the exact same thing to happen. You're
right,
going to
yeah,
be
yeah,
disappointed. So don't
yeah,
be disappointed. Just understand that there are different keyboards for different things. But for me, typing text is typing text. Um, and it's really not about the sound. What I care about is the fact that I don't want to hit two keys all the time. I'm constantly having
mm,
my output drops by half because I'm constantly backing up and redoing things.
right.
So all I care about is a stiff feel on the keyboard, and nobody does that because everything is about
Yeah,
the
no,
whole
I've got
gamer
a. I
thing.
mean, I'm fine with the really low and kind of quick tactile response with the Apple keyboard. It's
Yeah,
just works fine for me.
drives me
Um,
up a wall. It's really interesting. It's really it's just fascinating how things differ. Um,
I wanted to mention that I'm not going to be able to go tonight to see the Brian Eno film, but I would love to catch it at some other time if it's playing again. This is an interesting film. You might want to like look it up and see if it's playing anywhere near you.
right, because it's modular and it
It's
changes every time
modular
it's
and
played.
it's always different. Yeah, apparently. And it's a documentary. I don't know how I feel about that, but so it's like, oh, did you see the scene in that movie with Button? It was like, no, it wasn't in the movie that I saw.
Well, are they
Um,
actually leaving scenes out, or are they just
I don't
resequencing?
know. I don't
See, we got to
know.
figure
Yeah.
these things out, Jim.
Yeah.
We got to,
Maybe we can find out more about it and talk about it next time.
yeah,
Because our time is up.
yep. Thank God.
And what am I playing here? This is about that.
What?
What was that?
I don't know, but that was the best. That's the best
What?
part of this
What?
show.
Okay. Third time's a charm.
Funny Not Funny is produced by Jim Infantino at Slab Media in Boston. Jim Infantino and Lionel Casson are the co-hosts. Our website is funnynotfunny.net. The theme music is from the song Wheel from the album Utopia Revisited by Jim. The opinions presented by the co-hosts are ridiculous and should not be taken seriously by anyone. Our intended audience is literally nobody. If you're listening to this podcast, you should probably pause to reflect on other choices you've recently made. Please do not subscribe or leave a rating or review. It only encourages us to make more. Thanks for listening.